In a world where things almost make sense, and most everything is interesting and mildly unique, it's a place that feels somewhat familiar and has the suspicious comfort of a loving semi-omnipresence. You are on the outskirts of Loutopia. Sit back and relax, or tense up and march around. Please welcome your host of Loutopia, Lou Angel Wolf.
Huh? Hello? Somebody said my name. Welcome to the Loutopia podcast, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Lou Angel Wolf. Just like I said. Hang on just a second here. We got to finish this. Lovely. Welcome to the Loutopia podcast, ladies and gentlemen. And this is a show about health, humor, and well-being. And we hopefully touch on each of those topics throughout the next hour. Tonight's topic is Doomsday preppers and end-of-the-world psychologies and all that kind of stuff. We can open up some ideas and figure out what we really feel about this. You know, there's something in the air. Ladies and gentlemen, we're broadcast every week on the IRN Broadcast Network. That's irnbroadcast.com. Great programming, talk shows, and lots of great music shows. And you might want to check over irnbroadcast.com. You can download the app right there on your phone, carry it with you all the time. And, of course, the mothership here is Loutopia.com. That's the home of the Pacifist Riot, which is our mellow festo. It's what we would like to keep this energy moving forward. And here we are, folks. We're doing another great week, and always good to see. And probably a good portion of the reason I do the show, because every week I get to see my buddy Michael Merberg.
Good to be here, Lou.
Yeah, good to see you, man. You're a little moonbeam in my life. And I miss you when I don't see you.
Thanks, man.
So welcome back. And over there, Mike number 3, he's the producer, and he is also the CEO of Double Special Studios, Chris Gorges.
The executive
producer. Yes.
CE executive prop guy.
Yeah. He's got his own parking space out front, ladies and
I got
gentlemen.
like weird letterbox thing going on with your view tonight. It's really weird.
Weird letterbox.
Yeah, I don't know why I did that. I started the broadcast and it kind of just popped over to some weird like letterbox thing. Now all my logos and titles are like low. It's really weird. Look at that. See, it's like a letterbox thing there.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
As long as it doesn't turn into a sparkle horse thing. That's completely different.
I wish I could do that.
You love Sparkle Horse?
Just I don't know what it is, but it sounds lovely.
I love Sparkle Horse.
What is it like a?
They're a band. They're a freak show.
Oh, I thought it was a graphic that you use in broadcasting.
But anyway.
You say a certain word, and then a horse with sparkles coming out of his butt gallops across the screen.
Yes.
That would be magical.
Rainbow unicorn.
Yeah.
Yes. Wasn't it National Unicorn Day the other day or something? But anyway.
If you're right about that, I need to hit you before you leave. I don't even know. You shouldn't know things like that.
I shouldn't know about Unicorn Day?
No, you don't have any.
Dude, you're the one that told me about bronies.
Yeah, but I have a 9-year-old son.
Is that why you have bronies?
And I also podcasted for 5 years, and unlike your podcast, we talk. I mean, you guys talk about weird things, but we talked about weird things.
Oh,
you talk about like extraterrestrial weird things. We talk about weird pop culture things, weird crap people are into.
Yeah.
It makes ETs look blasé.
It really does. When you get to the brony universe, you're like, what is that, a gray?
You should meet Tyson from Tallahassee. There's an individual. That man's
Tyson
an individual.
From Tallahassee.
And also, ladies and gentlemen, part of the health part of it is our second half. We have hypnotherapist Beth Snyder. Man, what a lovely human being. It is so nice to be her friend and to have her. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you know, there's something in the air. There's a lot, whether it's just finally saturating me or whatever it is. But whether it's the Trump residency, the general, Facebook is being grilled in Congress as we speak. Today is April 10th, 2018.
The Zuckerberg trial.
Yeah, Pam tells me I should date mark my shows, and I probably should. Just say it right up front. I should have said it earlier. Yeah. But at least I said it.
They're dated on YouTube. Does Pam know that? That when they're
okay.
Okay, yeah.
All right. Well, I guess I'm verbally dating.
Making things current.
Richie, you ever listen to Richie from Boston?
Yeah.
I get his notifications because I'm always logged into your YouTube, and I apologize for that.
That's fine.
Well, because I'm sure we've got competing algorithms, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I love Richie from Boston, but that's how he opens up those. Hey, everybody. Hey, YouTube. It's Richie from Boston. Today's April 10th. And then he spills some stuff.
I like Vic D. Potato when he does his videos. What's up, YouTube? MySpace, your sister's ass.
Vic is a really funny guy.
Dude, Vic is now, like his little viral videos that he does, his little rants, are being picked up by BuzzFeed and turned into memes. That's how hard that dude's working. And he does 2-3 minute videos where he just
it goes off.
Yeah, it's called Ticked Off Vic.
Yeah,
it's great.
Oh, he's funny as hell.
Oh
man.
my god, dude! He had a coffee and he's like, "Coffee? You want coffee?" And he goes down all the coffee items in his kitchen, the brands of coffee, the different coffee makers, and they turn it into a meme. And it's just coffee, and it's got like the graphics and.
I love that.
Yeah, dude, he's getting disseminated.
Ew.
No, in a media way.
I don't want to see that video. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, and Michael and I. We were talking, chatting the other night and online, and if I think a lot of us here are thoroughly convinced that the government has complete control over almost everything, and if it were not for this feigning consciousness amongst the American people, they would have taken us over by now. But there's still enough people that have a deep sense of individuality, and they just don't want to conform, and they just don't want to, slide off the cliff with the other lemmings. And I'm caught up in it, in the flow of this society, but I swear I'm standing against the current more and more often, and I stuff goes by me, and I just don't care about it. I don't see the value in it, and then I can tell when I'm, it's always been kind of a blessing of mine. I can kind of tell when I'm being bullshitted, except from some women. But anyway, it's one of those things that, like, I watch all this news come flying by me all the time, and I go, that's complete horse shit. That has nothing to do with anything. That's entire fluff. That's a 3-year-old fact, and I'm tired. It's beating me up, man. Mm-hmm. It's wearing me out. It's dulling my edges, and
that's what it's supposed to do.
I know.
And I think more than anything, I think the government's not. They know there's too many guns in this country. That's what I think.
Yeah, I heard a statistic of 10 to 15 million assault weapons are on the streets of
But it's
America.
not by a lot of people, though. I mean, the numbers, there's a high number of guns in the country. This is the statistic that freaked me out. But there's a small number of people that own them.
Yeah.
That's weird.
It's like, I believe you should be able to have almost any kind of gun you want. But I don't have one.
Yeah, right. It's like anything else, dude.
I don't have one.
Well, guns are great, except the operating systems are fucked up.
Yeah?
Just think about it.
Yeah. Well, and it's such a two-sided coin. I mean, it's for protection, and it's also for affliction.
Keeping the government out of your fucking house. That's what it's there for.
Yeah. Listen, my dad had a situation where the police came. There was a neighbor down the street that called. My dad, brushed against the law here and there because he was one of those people. It's like, look, I know what my rights are, and I must stand up for them regardless of what the outcome. I may end up in jail tonight, but damn it, you're not just going to walk in my house. And so somebody down the street, he got into an altercation with somebody and argued. They were out playing in the street. My dad said something, and they drove by. So they decided to call the cops. And they said, oh, he threatened us. Well, without any investigation, they just wanted to walk into his house. My dad's like, you're not going to do that.
Right.
You don't have the right to do that. You're not going to do that. And they broke down the door. They eventually, paid for the door and everything. And but he was one of those guys who was like, "That's what the guns are for. That's what guns are for. That's what weapons are for. That's what your rights are about."
Yeah.
Unfortunately, there's you always have a few people that do something stupid.
Sure.
And and don't as far as like anything, marijuana, pot, anything like that, they go overboard. Like your topic tonight, Doomsday. I think it's a really good idea to be prepared for the breakdown of what you look. If anything, the hurricanes taught me. That's what it's taught me.
Yeah.
You could be without power for a week and a half, 2 weeks. It could not come back. Ask the people in Puerto Rico.
Right.
So what do you do for water?
There's still people without power.
Exactly. What do you do for water? What do you do to protect your place when people start to get desperate and they start to look around to loot and things like that? And I know that's, and I'm not one of those paranoid people that's like, they're going to come get your stuff. But you know what?
They'll come get your stuff. They'll
stuff.
come get your stuff.
If they get desperate enough and hungry enough, that's what you do.
And that's what's the puzzling thing is when, okay? Because here we see this economy now moving briskly. Everybody's working. There's new construction everywhere, and there's people are buying new cars, and
there's old shit falling apart all over the place.
And there's old shit falling apart all over the place, and nobody there to fix it.
Right.
So you're going to see a big, and I'm telling you, any young people, you'd be happening listening to the show, become an auto mechanic, become a plumber, become an electrician.
Learn how to use a screwdriver.
Learn that. That's good.
And a lug wrench.
That's good. Yeah.
Wrench in general.
Sure.
So I said to my son, I said, "You're going to help me fix the car." Why? I said, "Because you need to learn how to use tools. That's why. It's very important."
Well, and what I'm saying is you think mechanics are expensive now? Wait till they dwindle down. They're going to get really expensive. But anyway, that's just my public service announcement. Go to P-Tech, damn it.
Do you have it? Do you have any Doomsday? Because I was looking at the list of stuff. I actually pulled up a list.
Uh-huh.
Let me see if I can pull it up for the viewers here. Did I download it? Where is it? Wait, I have it online. That's what it is. I pulled up a list here. The viewers won't be able to see it. But you can see it, Lou.
Okay.
And these are the top items that Doomsday preppers, 32 essential items for your Doomsday
32.
Yep, prep list. You don't have to go all through all of them. Just saying.
We'll do the top 10.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if they're listed in order of top 10.
Well, the first one right there, water storage and sanitation.
Yeah.
It's the only thing you can't live without.
Yeah.
You got to have the water.
Right.
And that's going to be, see, that's the backbone of this. Michael, you and I were talking about it the other night. Like, I love my buddy Dale Hoffman. He's a great guy, and he has a cool little house up in northern Michigan and the Upper Peninsula. Okay, and it gets way freaking cold up there, but he also has a water well with the most delicious water I've ever drank in my whole life. You have a glass of that. For one, it comes out of the tap around 52 degrees. And then for two, you drink a glass of that water, it feels like you ate something. I mean, it's so mineral rich.
I was going to say, is that lead?
Coming to a neighborhood nearest you.
I know, right?
But, yeah, man, it really, I mean, I've like had daydreams. I'm going, how can I bring back 110 gallons of Dale's water. I mean, if I go up and visit, I want to bring back some barrels of water.
Well, they're saying at least that you need to have the recommended consumption of water is a minimum of a gallon a day.
Okay. Really? We drink that much?
Well, you should.
You should? Okay.
Yep.
I think I do. And of course, sanitation there immediately, if when things start getting dirty, they start getting diseasey.
Yep.
And so being able to clean yourself and your surroundings is very, very important.
Well, they say on the second one is storage, backpack. I think that lends into that where you keep everything. You need to keep everything like close to you and clean and dry.
Yeah, dry is a big part of it too.
Yep.
Yeah, soggy shit causes, soggy feet.
It's things that people don't think about. They don't have in their house. First aid kit, that's important.
Yeah.
Just a couple of simple items. Navigation, compass is always good. How many people actually have a compass? I mean, other than what's on their phone, which if the systems go down.
Sure.
And I think it's not going to be a political thing. I think it's going to be a natural
I
thing.
think I have 4 compasses.
I have one.
Yeah.
It's not a very good one.
I got one good one.
I'm not talking about your moral compass.
No.
I'm talking about like a real
The
compass.
Chuck E. Cheese compass I have. It's like a little, plastic and a pin in there. But yeah.
Yeah, we certainly don't want to be led by anyone's moral compass, present company included. But no, actually, we're all pretty good guys on the big sliding scale. But what I'm saying is I never used to have these thoughts. Now, 27 years ago, I had a born-again experience. And I got right with Jesus, and I walked the Christian path for many, many years. And then I went into Messianic Judaism, all this time being a stand-up comic and, in my various sales careers and whatever. But I've been going through this convolution, and I also started studying alternative news back then too. I don't call it conspiracy theory. That's a name that the government hung on it to make it sound ridiculous. And it's not ridiculous. It's just alternative points of view. And the other thing, the more I study it, it's the realistic point of view. The fact that do you notice that there's government control in every facet?
Yeah, just connect the dots.
Yeah,
it's real easy.
And why the thing that really bothers me is why people are so unwilling to accept the fact that they've been duped. I've been duped. I get duped daily. So, but what I think becoming more sensitive to the duping has to be. It's got to be a key to happiness, or at least some kind of balance.
Or at this point, if you're not wise to it, you really got to be getting sick of all the crap that's out there in the news.
Yes,
I mean it's biased. There's nothing that isn't. You got to read through it all. It's just sickening. Absolutely, it's changing the, semi-omnipresence to an omni-semi-presence.
That's true. Yeah, it's always there. It's always there. There's. You can't pick up your phone without getting hit with an ad. You can't turn anywhere without seeing a freaking logo. Even my innocent little Loutopia show's got a logo.
Yeah, 100 emails a day.
100 emails a day?
Yeah, I spend an hour a day just beating my emails back to like 5% above where they started in the morning.
That's really funny.
I just envision him like a bushwhacker in his office. back, I say.
Kill.
I think it's called delete, Mike. Delete.
Sorry. Got ahead of myself.
So, we're talking about getting ready for another set of circumstances that could happen. Okay, and the other thing about it is I just feel that the structure that's holding everything together is really rotting and getting very weak in a lot of key points. And you have to admit, how easy would it be for the media sources? There's 5 major media sources, all owned by like-minded people, all owned by, huge banking concerns. And I'm speaking in vague generalities, but if you read for a couple of hours, you'll find very, very similar things. How hard would it be for them to launch a mass panic over some sort of situation? I mean, go back to 2001 and September 11th. Those televised things literally changed the vibration and the magnetism of the world. The manipulation of that event was probably, coming of Christ level. Everyone saw it. and there were places that never saw it, which you can imagine. Like if you're living out in the woods, you don't have a TV. There's a lot of people that do that. They never heard of 9/11 or anything.
And there's always that old Japanese guy on the island that they haven't discovered yet.
Right.
It's still hiding from World War II.
Right.
He doesn't care.
He doesn't.
He doesn't care at all.
He's not a Democrat or a Republican, that guy. But
What have you done for the prep? Have you prepped, Lou, at all? Do you think about it? And do you think, I want to ask you this question because I mentioned earlier and you kind of skimmed over it. Mm-hmm. You're certain it's going to be a politically motivated breakdown? Not certain, but that's the way you're leaning?
It's broken down into two. People have turned into two things these days. They're either nationalists or globalists. Okay? There's no Republican, Democrat anymore. And it's pretty much, you're going to have to make a next level choice. So whether you're a nationalist, whether you believe in America and all that kind of stuff, or whether you want to go with the global program where you're going to relinquish all your decisions to councils of people that live far away from you. But if you want to keep your control near and dear, which is, to me, the most sensible way for whatever level of control you have in your life, why you would fully give it away to some global council with people whose ideas and mindsets do not match yours. So that's why I say a lot of us are going to stand here with the nationalists. So
you think it's going to be, if there is a doomsday, quote unquote, then it's going to be a politically driven one?
It'll be politically driven. One of the scariest things that I know about, and it's one of those things that it doesn't wake me up at night, but if I think about it before I go to sleep, it takes up a couple of minutes before I drift it away. I literally have to make a mental concert to move this thought out of my head. A couple of years ago, I read this huge military thing about microwave bombs and how they can lob a microwave bomb into an area and it will cook every piece of meat within miles, okay, yet leave the entire infrastructure of the city. And if you think about the global takeover, they don't want free-thinking people. They really do want, like Carlin says, they want just enough people to push the machines and make the buttons work so they can continue on. The 1% just continues to grow and soak up all the good stuff. And here we are, literally, I mean, whatever this force is, whatever this power of light, and if you look at it even from the scriptures say that Lucifer, okay, which a lot of these people are very, very open to admit that they're following a Luciferian doctrine. Lucifer names himself and is named in the scriptures as the ruler of the kingdom of the air. And that is how all of this destruction is going to come about. It's going to come flying through the air, either via information, microwaves, signals of some sort. The things that are absolutely possible are stunning. The stuff that the government hides from us, the things that they are capable of, is absolutely off the charts.
Yeah, but what about the prepping? What have you been doing for prepping?
Well, to be honest with you, I got like 2 boxes of long-lasting food.
Like straight up, like dehydrated?
Dehydrated, packed tight.
I bet you Mike's got a bunch of stuff. I don't mean that in a bad way. Just because you live out in the woods, you got plenty of space to put stuff like that.
Well, yeah. Well, how much peanut butter can you eat in a lifetime?
Ask my son, for God's sakes. No, but don't you have do you collect your water out there, Mike?
No, I don't need to. I've got my own well.
Perfect.
I've got a solar system, and I've got my own garden. And if worst comes to worst, I have a swimming pool full of water.
Yeah.
So I'll do okay.
I want to pick up a couple of those life straws.
What's a life straw?
A life straw is like a high-tech filter in a straw, and you can basically use it to drink any groundwater. It filters out any contaminants.
Yeah, it's a silver-impregnated carbon, as I recall.
Something like that, yeah. I don't even know what's in it. Yeah, a life straw. You can
They really work?
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Oh, definitely, yeah. See, I think it's going to be I'm not on the political end of it or the conspiracy. I feel like it's going to be really bad natural disasters that put us in a situation where we're really struggling for the basics: water, shelter, food. Those.
Yeah, I'm not counting that out either.
Just the way the weather's going, and I'm not a.
But you also got to look at the weather too. Okay,
what's that?
Between HARP and the what's the big name of the big collider over there? The CERN. Mm-hmm. Between those things, they're also manipulating the weather.
Yeah,
and they say certain. And when you start really digging in, you get people that were in qualified positions to give very, very good opinions and ideas about what happened. There's some guys that know what they're talking about saying that Hurricane Katrina, which wiped out New Orleans, had it was like a controlled storm, and they actually lost control of it in the middle of it. Mm-hmm. So, and if enough, here's the thing about these ideas and these theories. I'm not saying they're all true. Okay, but what I'm saying is, if 5% of them are true, if you got to listen to 20 lies to hear one truth, you got to pay attention to that, because that's part of the thread. If you're gathering this thread towards truth in your life, every once in a while something comes by and you go, man, that's wisdom.
Well, I read an article this week coming out of China that the Chinese have created a cloud system the size of Spain. By putting silver or aluminum crystals in the air in Tibet,
right,
and just beneath the glacial melts. So if they can create clouds the size of Spain with human-made objects and chemicals, I mean, they can do a lot more. That's just what they're admitting to in Child's Play.
Yes, yeah, and now this. That made me think of something. Now, this is from my imagination, okay? This is something that I've thought of over and over again. And I've been following chemtrails, and Richie from Boston, and Beth is into chemtrails too. And damn it, there's something coming out of the back of those planes that's not steam, okay?
And they're up there all day long.
They're all day long. They crosshatch the sky. I mean, it really looks like a purposeful effort.
Right.
Okay. So, and I remember, watching contrails as a kid. You could see them, and contrails go away in a little while. They don't linger there for hours.
Right. And they're most likely to occur when you have cold air, cold circumstances around, as opposed to warm air.
Sure.
And
what
we're seeing.
Well, here's the thing that Chris is going to miss this. Here's the thing that I have had visions of. See, the scriptures also tell you that you're going to have the second coming of Christ is going to be something that the whole world can see. And with the graphic and the computer abilities that this world has, the holographic capabilities, with those particles flying around in the air, you could project these images all over the world that would actually use those particles in the air as a screen. And the whole world would be able to see this false Messiah. The thing you got to remember is the first guy to come back is a fake. Okay, the first guy is not the real guy. You're not the Savior, or the Messiah is not going to be revealed to us until the second layer. Okay, so the first guy to come back is going to be a phony baloney. And that's what I'm saying. I just watched 1984 the other day, and just that constant presence of that face looking at you, and the thought police and all that stuff. There's part of me that really just wants to drop out. I kind of want to go off grid. I kind of want to, go work. I have a lot of words in my head, and I'm sure I've got 5 books in me. I just, and it's
Who's going
almost
to be left to read him after Doomsday?
well, it doesn't matter. It's just
I'm kidding.
that's the flow of the artist.
I'm
there.
kidding.
So, but yeah, I just don't know, because if I've identified all this other stuff in my life as being, artificial and phony baloney, the only thing that really is the matter of the heart, and and the condition of your spirit. So if those are the two most true things that I know about, what is all this other horse shit about?
Well, the horse shit is about people that have been born into this world that care about themselves and nobody else. And then, it's like I said the last time I was on, as of the winter solstice in 2012, we started undergoing the great transition from third dimensionality to fourth dimensionality. Fourth dimensionality meaning consciousness of self and others with service to others over service to self.
Yes.
And that's essentially how the world is evolving at this point in time. I truly do believe that's a fact. So now the question is, we're only here for as long as we need to get to, our next spiritual awakening, our next spiritual level. Once we've learned everything we need to learn in these bodies, they're of no good use to us anymore.
Yes.
So we ascend, and we don't ascend necessarily to come back to this planet.
Yes.
We get to go somewhere else. We get off this prison planet. And, and that's why the ET phenomena is so important. They're not going to let us blow ourselves up, but they will let us make our lives as miserable as we can possibly make it, as long as the idiots that are running the world remain in charge and pay homage to nobody else but themselves.
Right. Exactly. So, well, and the fact that this society, if you think the society is infallible, you're absolutely wrong. Every society falls. And here we are in the decline of the Western civilization, and Penelope Spheris would have you believe it started with heavy metal. Here we are slowly falling apart, okay? If you knew how hip that was. But anyway, here's the world slowly falling apart, and I think what happens to, we're going to go to break here in just a second. What happens to is we continue to look back. We think about happier times or perceived happier times. We think back in the 70s or the 80s or the 90s, whenever you were having a good time with your friends. There certainly was a lot less pressure in the air back then. Things really didn't matter as hard. I was not a very materialistic person back then. I knew that, the best times was, sitting on the beach, laughing with your friends and just not being carefree. I mean, talking about odd things, strange things, beautiful things, being in love, trying to figure love out, all that stuff. But these days, man, we're just this freaking phone and the computer, and I mean, I watch my robotic little life. I get up in the morning, I pour myself a cup of coffee, and I sit down at the light, and the light starts telling me what's up. And you know what? The inner Lou is rejecting that. I'm not good with it anymore. And you know what? We're going to take a little break, and we're talking about doomsday prepping or whatever. Preparing for the new day, whatever that is. The new rainy, blustery day. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Lou Angel Wolf here with Michael Merberg, Chris Gorgeous. We're on the IRN Broadcast Network, damn it. And if you want to keep looking us up, our buddy Mike keeps us dialed in over there. We're going to take a short break, and we'll be back with the lovely and talented Beth Snyder. And we're going to stay on this preparation trail.
things almost make sense, and most everything is interesting and mildly unique. It's a place that feels somewhat familiar and has the suspicious comfort of a loving semi-omnipresence. You are on the outskirts of Loutopia. Sit back and relax, or tense up and march around. Please welcome your host of Loutopia, Lou Angel Wolf.
Man, it's good to be back, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back, part 2, second segment, Dos Equis, of the Loutopia podcast. Here we are. I'm Lou Angel Wolf, in studio, Michael Merberg, Chris Gorgeous, and on the phone lines, like I promised you, it's the corporate hypnotherapist. It's Beth Snyder.
Well, good evening, Loutopians.
That somebody else can carry around that much knowledge about you, like lint in her pocket. She knows Angel Wolf secrets. Well, Beth, tonight's topic is we're talking about, like Doomsday prepper. Just that's the mindset that we're talking about. We're not actually talking about, how to build a mud hut.
I know, and that's disappointing to me.
Oh, well, we can do that next week.
I thought that was the show was about.
Well, I did.
You start with mud. I know that much. I think I got it down already, just by the name.
Listen, I got a graphic here of a house with a whole thing built underneath. I'm thinking, okay, we're going to get into the nuts and bolts here.
Dude, let it rip. You're the producer.
Well, listen.
Wow.
Oh my God.
Your bomb shelter you're digging in Florida, you'll be swimming in it.
This guy's got like a shuttle built underneath his house. I'm like, that's interesting.
That's a little much.
This is how I pictures Mike's ranch, by the way.
Right.
He's got a shuttle.
It's like, I had the ants build me one.
Yeah, from what I understand, there's guys that have spent millions of dollars on these underground bunker life thing.
Well, now they have the shipping container bunkers that people buy now, and you can build those. They're like steel, and they're big, and they're making underground bunkers with these shipping and they're actually very affordable. Beth's got 8 of them already. I know.
I do, stacked up.
How do you
some people have actually moved into the old like nuclear underground bunker things and made their home in them.
Yeah,
that were abandoned in the 50s. When we went through this whole scare back then.
Absolutely. And Beth, I really can't tell you how much all this flies in the face of the other side of me, the angel part of Wolf. I want people to be happy and joyous and free and loving and caring and kind. And, I don't want them to be fearful. But, what we were talking about in the first half, there's this funk in the air that just ain't going away. It's just this dissection of energy mixed with electronic waves, microwaves, and bullshit waves. It's fatiguing us all.
Oh yeah, I think absolutely, and I think more than any, it's been before. I mean, you have to retreat from this because you get so caught up in it. I just went away for a couple of weeks and really unplugged, and went back to the wilderness and went out, sniffing for Sasquatch. Went up and touched the Appalachian Trail, and there's still, you get, when you're in it all the time and you're on these devices all the time, and you're letting this news just kind of pound at you, you forget that it's still a pretty simple world out there, and people still are sitting on their porches and watching the sunrise and the sunset.
Yeah.
But I completely feel it, and I know even just for me, just leaving for that bit of time, was a real perspective shift. As much as I think I'm being mindful, that I was reminded that I need to unplug even more.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Did you you went up to Georgia?
We did. We went up to it's the Blue Ridge area, Blue Ridge, Georgia.
Uh-huh.
So It's a little bit of the Smoky Mountain area and the national forests up there. So it's just gorgeous, just absolutely beautiful.
It really is.
It was cold, but it was fun.
It really, but it really is fabulous up there. Just the clean air, and we were talking about the first half of the show. There's nothing more delicious than a cold glass of well water. You know, something a glass of that water that came from a deep well, and it was cold out of the tap. Oh man, we were talking. My buddy Dale's got a well up in Michigan, Upper Peninsula in Michigan. It literally, when you drink a glass of that water, you feel like you ate something. You know, I mean, it's so full of minerals, and it's wetter than other water. You know, it's just amazing stuff. But and that's kind of, you know, we're kind of torn in this dichotomy. We know that those kind of things, like being able to appreciate a wonderful glass of water, man, what a blessing that is, and yet one of the simplest things in life, and perhaps maybe even overpoweringly simple and overpoweringly beautiful. But we, you know, all this other stuff invades on us. You know, this.
Well, yeah, in that simple life, I think that everyone, you know, on some level, we all long for that. You know, we all want that, but it is, you know, it is in jeopardy.
Yes.
It's in jeopardy by the way that this planet is being stewarded, and you know, we do have. You know, it's frightening to see the amount of pollution, and you know, I don't know how many more generations those kind of things will be, you know, a glass of well water will be actually available for them.
Right.
You know, if this country does, you know, not just this country, but if this world doesn't, you know, drastically embrace and change its direction.
I couldn't agree with you more, Beth. We are the worst frickin' tenants that any planet could hope for.
Oh, so true, dude. I've been watching this tenant show on Netflix, all British tenants. Holy crap, what people do to their homes is ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, a lot of that is methamphetamine induced.
I don't even think so. I think it's just laziness and like, I'll get it later. And that's how you feel about the planet. We'll get it later.
Well, you know, again, to quote Carlin, he said, when the planet's done with us, it'll shake us off like fleas.
Yeah, like a bad case of fleas. That's the best line ever.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, but listen, the planet's operating on a bit of a bigger time scale, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, yeah, and I really do. I mean, I'm blessed to be chosen to have taken this soul journey at this particular, you know, time on Earth. I think a lot of us, all of us here, are definitely empaths. And we have a very, very empathic nature towards everything. That's why,
to a fault.
That's why the show has the draw that it does. All you guys.
Well, and I think you know this devastation of the planet, I think, sadly, is probably most likely inevitable, and that has been, you know, that has been prophesized for a very long time. That this world, you know, will end. I mean, the shamans have been telling us that. You know, the ancient texts have always told us that. You know, even, you know, you could interpret the Bible story in that way, right?
Yes.
So, you know, that those who survive this world, you know, create the new world. And the new world, you know, has the potential to be that, you know, that paradise that we've always had available to us, but that greed and anger and ego has not allowed for.
Yeah. And you know, and I think every generation looks and says, "Oh my gosh, look at those hippies with the long hair! It's going to be the end of the world." So
those fucking hippies were right, man.
The hippies had some truth, but this is something that's kind of creeped me out, and you know, the way our political system goes. I'm not a Republican. I'm not a Democrat. We were talking a little earlier. I'm a nationalist. If I'm anything, I do believe and love the United States. You know, that's my big fat line in the sand. I do love this concept of our life, the statehood, everything. You know, everything's okay with me. Okay, and I'm blessed because it's a peaceful existence if you let it be. You know, if you run through the maze the way they like you to, it's okay if you hit the wall every once in a while. You just knock yourself up, keep going. but what it does, we've not lived in a war-torn society here in the United States. We've not had to.
No, but we've made plenty of them.
Oh well, we
I was just thinking, no, we're too busy with this.
Well, we
making
export it.
Other places.
We export it. We don't take
Right.
it. We don't import it.
Our biggest export.
It is. It is. Death and control and Coca-Cola. It's all very, very important stuff. And so, but we live under the shade of, hey, if there's a serious badass guy in your neighborhood, you quietly go around his house. You don't go tromping through his front yard and throwing, ding-dong wrappers on his sidewalk. You quietly go around his house. And the United States government is the biggest, baddest bitches ever. There is nothing like the United States military force. Nothing.
We have a Secretary of State that's not allowed to go overseas because she's wanted for war crimes.
Of course.
Come on, let's get perspective.
Well, you want somebody good wiring that bomb,
Right, when they make mass fucking torture legal, we're going to want somebody who knows how to do it.
That's right. Hey. little heavy on the hand there.
Sorry.
A little thick with the water on the waterboard. But what I'm saying is, and I think that what is soaking in on us here is you see all this stuff. You watch. I don't watch the stuff on TV. I don't watch the movies like that. But
I do.
They brush up against me. I mean, I can't help but see them. They're everywhere. So you say, okay, the government, the biggest, baddest bitches ever with every gun, tank, method, weapon of mass destruction. Is there going to come a day when they really want to play with their shit? And,
Right.
That was last Tuesday. Where the hell have you been?
Yeah.
Assad just played with his shit.
They're ramping up for something now. I could smell it,
Yeah, but I mean, I'm talking on their home ground and really take the grasp out of our hands and flip it over to the government. And we had talked in the first half. We also talked about microwave bombs. You lob a microwave bomb into an area, it'll cook all the meat for miles around, but it'll leave the infrastructure, so you can move your new people in there and take over where the meat people were. There's all these. There's just so much.
It's just endless. I mean, we don't even know. Everything.
No.
If I kind of track these chemtrails and all of that, and I'm always so hopeful that it's just water vapor. But I mean, they just had Harvard just had a big geoengineering conference. I mean, they're doing all sorts of things that we're unaware of as the general public, and we'll never know. The advancements that we've had in technology in the last 15 years. Can you imagine what they've been able to do with weaponry?
Oh,
we don't know. I mean, as the general public, I don't think we'll ever have, the true knowledge of what could happen. So it's very frightening, especially in times like this when there's so much division and there's so much uncertainty in people in power.
Right. Yeah. It's and what I'm glad you left it right there, because what I was getting around to is the thing that kind of creeped me out when all this stuff is percolating around us, all these theories, all these ideas. Trump, when he came to office, they were taking this big group photo, and as everybody was like setting up for the picture, he like looked at everybody that was in the room, which was, all of his cronies. And he's like, here it is, the calm before the storm. And I know he's an anus and he speaks whatever flies out of his pie hole. But if that had any gravity, okay, because he literally could be the perfect stooge to pull this thing off. I mean, because of what he symbolizes white American fat ass capitalism,
privilege.
Which makes me laugh that you thought that was the thought that was going through. But you know what was the thought that was going through his head? You know what was actually going through his head?
What's that?
Really need a cheeseburger. That's what was going through his head. When we leave here, I'm going to have the entourage go through a Jack in the Box.
Or a big steak with ketchup.
Yeah, right. He is that dude, isn't he?
Lots and lots of ketchup. Some salt, too.
Well, there's just so much misinformation, and there's so many people. There's so, now with social media and the way that the information is disseminated, and the clickbait, right? So if you click on something, then they're feeding it to you. I mean, YouTube just got nailed on this too. Facebook's getting hammered on it, but you click on something and then they're instantly feeding you things, right? So you go down this rabbit hole. So you can very quickly be at the bottom of a deep amount of misinformation, and be scared out of your wits.
Right, sure.
But none of that might be true. But some of it might be. But so who knows, right? So we're in this age right now where we're like, nobody really knows what's going on, and we're just screaming at each other back and forth in social media, trying to pick the right side. It's like, like Christianity, right? I need to be the one who gets into heaven, so help me pick the right side here.
Sure.
Help me pick the right religion. But so there needs, something has to change, and we have to have some sort of standard where we say, okay, that's the truth. And it used to be the New York Times. I think, they were the paper of record, right? I mean,
right.
At least we could kind of count on them for journalistic integrity.
Sure, yeah.
So right now, no one can even agree on journalistic integrity. So no one, you could read something that could be plain as day. You could walk outside with someone and say, literally, you could say the sky is blue, and they'll say, well, it's been created that way by chemtrails, and someone next to them will say, oh, it's been created that way by God, and someone will say, well, they're projecting blue up into the sky. So there is just this huge disconnect and all of this information that's just, being spread out there, and you're being targeted when you're online and when you're doing stuff. Your behavior is targeting you for that information that will keep you clicking to see ads.
Yeah.
Well, that's the way the CIA wants it.
Right.
I mean, let's face it, Apple and Facebook are all front organizations for the CIA. They've had their hands in everything. And if you don't believe that, then you really need to do some more research. I mean, how did Jeff Bezos buy the Washington Post at the bottom basement prices, only to get a $250 million contract from the CIA 6 weeks after he bought the newspaper?
Amazing.
Yeah, it's funny how that works out.
Contract for what? What was the contract for?
For hiring new employees, new staffers. I mean, he got
also use them for background check situations.
No, it wasn't. It was to produce news. I didn't get into the particulars of it because that's they don't put that out there. But the fact of the matter is, the CIA paid him $250 million, and the reality is the CIA has been feeding stories into every newspaper in every country throughout the world by paying reporters to write slanted and very favorable reports in, quote, news that the CIA wants them to write. It's like you mentioned Assad, Today, the United Nations, the Russians and the Syrians asked for a UN investigation into the use of chemicals. And who tries to block it? The United States.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And then they want sanctions on Israel for the murders of the Palestinians last week. And who comes to block it? The United States. Go figure.
Yeah. Well,
the deck is stacked and it's slanted against this, and it's the deep state that's doing it, and they've been doing it for a long, long time. The cabal runs deep in this country, and they're buried very, very deep, and not a lot of people know about it or see it, but they're there nonetheless, and that's exactly how they want to stay.
Exactly. And the other thing too is one thing they learned from Middle Eastern philosophies is they look at things on much longer plans than we do. They have a 100-year plan. They have
200-year plan.
200-year plan. They have a lot of things, mechanisms, and that's why their camaraderie and their brotherhood is so deep, and they've all got secrets on each other, and but who does it, if you get ruined within your own circle, what's the difference? But but it's really, really added to a very, very confusing time. Beth, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, which I think just speaks to, being in this world, but not being of it.
Yes.
And I think, I think, Mike, what you're doing even with your book, what our message has always been here at Loutopia is to be, to be here, but not be of this place. To be here and to continue to still be, resonating in a way that allows people to experience love and joy and peace and harmony in the moment, wherever you encounter them.
Yes.
And that you too have the right to continue to feel that, regardless of what else is going on. This world, I think, without a doubt, will implode upon itself. But there is the opportunity, for a new world. And as eternal beings, which I truly believe we all are,
yes,
I think we're, we're moving on to a place that will allow for that, will allow for us to live in a more utopian way, in a more respectful way, in a more loving way. There is just something about humanity, call it ego, call it greed, call it whatever, but that element, and you see it in people where they no longer have it.
Right.
And those are our Buddhas, those are our Jesuses, those are who we look up to. So continue on that path. You can be here, and I've always said, with guns and people want to doomsday and hide. If it's my time, it's my time. I mean, I'm not, if you're coming to kill me, then you're coming to kill me. I'm not going to participate in your game.
Well,
I'm not going to have guns. I'm not going to hide. I'm not going to cower. I'm not going to shoot back. If you're coming to kill me, then that's okay. That was your choice, and that was our karma. But, it's just like meat. I don't eat meat, right? I don't participate in that. But the point being is that all of this can still be going on, but you can still be happy. You can still be joyful. You can still be loving, right? You can still make choices that allow you to not participate in it and allow you not to feed that machine.
Yes. I agree completely, and that's the beauty of the power of love. The fact that even in the most turmoiled mindset, there's still that one little vibrating thread of pure, beautiful love that's in every situation. And when you calm your ass down and you take some deep breaths, you can really turn things around for yourself. And that's the struggle that I have. Is I so much prefer the sunny, breezy side of the street. I don't prefer the cold, dark alleys. But consequently, our brains are actually tuned to like the bad news. The bad news is appealing to us. It just tickles something in your GABA receptor. You went, there's a little tragedy I can experience in a parallel universe.
I think it's because people... I'm sorry, go ahead, Beth.
Go ahead. I was just going to say it's for survival. It really is. It's a survival mechanism kind of left over from the lizard brain that we have to know where the bad stuff is.
Don't get me started on the lizards.
Right, but then in that we're never living because we're always
turtles.
just avoiding dying and not actually living.
Do you think, Beth, that also it's about my life could be so much more worse. Look at that person's tragedy. At least I don't have that. You think it's a way of making yourself feel a little bit better about your position?
Well, there can be, in comparing yourself. But I think fundamentally it's just, we're kind of wired up that way because we want to avoid pain at all costs. And that's really what our subconscious wants to do as well. So if someone bumps into you on the subway, you're going to really remember that person. You're going to even kind of already kind of wire that in, in being in that same place when you go by, you'll probably remember that. But you won't remember quite often the people that smiled at you during the day and that kind of stuff. So that's where we have to use our higher functioning to be mindful of those moments and really, kind of ground those in.
Yes.
Ground in and trigger in joy and peace and love. And yeah, it's an uphill battle for sure. We want to be negative. It's just easier.
I feel like I don't know. I am such the enigma on this show because I feel like I'm dipping my toes on both sides. I do, like you, Beth, and like you guys. I do notice those moments when people smile. I remember that.
Right.
I remember the happy things, but I also embrace the underbelly of everything because I believe that that you can't have the light without the dark. I'm not afraid of the dark, and the dark doesn't repulse me. I'm not going to participate in most of the dark.
Right, sure.
But I acknowledge it, and I feel like it's part of the entire experience. I don't want it to be gone because I feel like if it was. Here's what I feel like when Lou said I want everybody to be happy and the peace thing. All I could picture in my brain was the people in the white tunics in H.G. Wells' Time Machine. Remember how happy they were, and they were having picnics and everything. And then when the horn went off, a couple of them got eaten. You know what I mean?
Adios, Eloy.
Yeah.
I know. That's all I could think of, and I'm like, yeah, the
I
happy.
hear you, right? We can't go without opposites, right? We have to have light to have dark, or dark to have light. For sure.
I can tell you that I have taken through a stroll through several fields full of Care Bears. There's just Care Bears. They climb all over me while I'm walking through.
What are you wearing? That's the question. More importantly,
bib
bib
overalls.
Bib overalls with no shirt,
barefoot, no shirt, bib overalls.
That's a lovely. I'm never gonna get
Care
that.
Bears.
Are you skipping?
No, just walking.
Just walking
like my regular trudge.
Terrible. You take DMT and all of a sudden you're shitting Care Bears.
It's just a video of you trudging through a field of Care Bears is the opening to the best music video I think I could ever see in my life. Like, what's this song going to be about?
It's like In Search of the Big Unicorn.
I don't know, but it needs a fiddle. I know that.
No, wash tub thing.
I got your unicorn right here.
Washboard, a wash tub thing, and like a mouth harp. Boing, 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 boing.
Brown chicken, brown cow. Well, ladies and gentlemen, believe it or not, this is the Loutopia podcast.
I think they believe that.
I think they do too. So here we are, sitting here, puzzled by life, and that's what we try to do every week here on the Loutopia podcast. If you're listening on the IRN Broadcast Network, thank you so much. And, of course, we're here every week on YouTube, and we would ask that you would please like and subscribe. Tell your friends. Repost it. It's on Facebook, too. It's also on Pod-O-Matic. And, of course, the mothership is Loutopia.com. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of an hour here, and actually went a little over, but that's okay. So, Beth, you were absolutely phenomenal tonight. Thank you so much for your energy on a daily basis. You're such a blessing in our lives, and thank you so much for, being you and you're just one of those beautiful people that continually try to improve yourself and create more balance in your life, and it's just a blessing to know you, girl.
Oh, thank you, and the same to you, and I love to each and every one of you.
Yes, well, thank you. Well, namaste too, sister. I finally found out what that meant a couple of years ago, the namaste.
Cool.
And,
the light in me recognizes the light in you.
Exactly, and that's what it is. But for years, I didn't know what it was. I thought it was a car club for old Volvos and Saabs.
or the people that drive them.
Yes, it was like a Corolla station wagon car club.
All I knew it was a Beastie Boys song. That's all I knew.
Well, Beth, thank you so much for sitting in with us. Michael, thank you, man. Always beautiful and insightful.
Thanks. The last insight of the night is, in 300 million years, things keep on going the way they're going, we're going to be somebody else's oil.
I cherish that. Chris, good seeing you, buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're in a happy mood today. You got a new toy.
Please don't low. No. Beth will stop talking to me.
That's
You got a new gun.
Well, you're tough to figure.
You ran out and got your semi-automatic before the
I already had one of
Obama
those.
comes
I
for
got
you.
another one. I'm doomsday prepping, lady. You don't know.
He's got it wrapped in horse blanket. But
Be careful.
ladies and gentlemen, if you decide to head for the hills, I understand.
Go to Blue.
And I think we should cover this topic again. I think it was real good. It was real cathartic. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for listening to the Loutopia podcast. Go to Loutopia.com, read the pacifist riot, and you'll find out what the backbone of this whole movement is. We really, really, we're gonna go through an entire cleansing of this world. Everything is going to be laid to waste, and the one sprig of love will pop up in a field somewhere in western Oklahoma, and that'll be the beginning of love all over again. And finally, the world will know love in its entirety. Why we got to go through all that other bullshit first when we know this now? So join us. We love you. Thanks for listening. We'll be back next week.